Welcome back to Chicago Playwrights, produced by the CLYDE FITCH Report in association with Chicago Dramatists. My name is Sean Douglas, and we have Beck Willett on camera. And today our guest is Meghan Beals, the artistic director of Chicago Dramatists. She's here to tell us about Chicago Dramatists' upcoming season and what plays they chose.
I am.
So, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
You're excited about two upcoming shows at
Yes.
Chicago Dramatists.
So we've got two that are coming up for our 15-16 season, and the first one that we're starting with is Beautiful Autistic by resident playwright Scott Waldman, which is a fantastic, directed by our associate artistic director Rachel Edwards-Harveth, and it is a wickedly funny and incredibly heartfelt and ultimately tragic play about a young man in the 90s who's trying to make connections with people in Wrigleyville, which is where he lives and where he feels at home, but he's autistic, and that provides a number of challenges for him to make friends, talk to people, have any long-term relationships. And so not only does it provide, of course, a tremendous amount of humor as he unwittingly is trying to make friends, and women think, and men think, that he might be picking them up, etc., but that ultimately it's very difficult for him to sustain any of normal, quote-unquote, normal conversations in bars before everything comes screeching to a halt, and he whips out articles about nanotechnology and dark matter and the fact that he has testicular cancer and
the usual
conversation that happens.
I like to drop dark matter into conversation.
In Wrigleyville bars. Yeah, great.
It sounds fun. So what do you hope an audience might get out of this show? What are the themes
well,
at play here?
I really, Scott's writing is, like I said, it's just wickedly funny. And so you can't help but, of course, laugh at these horrible situations and hysterical situational, kind of comedic setups, and yet there's a great deal of truth involved, both with this young man's particular challenges and his disorder of how he processes information, of course, being on the autism spectrum, and the crux of it is that this challenge that he has is in the shell of a beautiful young man. So the idea that we tend to judge people by what we see and then can be enormously surprised or taken aback by what's on the inside, the expectations that we have for people that we meet, depending upon how they look, and when that is subverted, and it's difficult to then continue that relationship, those are the things that I think we're challenging people with. Mm-hmm. In that, the old adage, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, in this case, here's this gorgeous man, played by Nick, who has real difficulties in making quote-unquote normal human connections with people.
And what is the second play this season?
So the second play of our season is American Beauty Shop by resident playwright Dana Lynn Forby, directed by Meghan. And this is a gorgeous story about a mother and a daughter, a single mom who has her at-home beauty shop in the basement, desperately trying to launch her daughter off to college, to give her daughter all of the opportunities that she didn't have in terms of education and employment and things like that. And lo and behold, because her daughter is hardworking and brilliant, she does get a scholarship to UC Berkeley, but then something comes up that perhaps might prevent daughter Judy from attending. And so it comes to a point where mom needs to decide how hard to push her daughter, and can she jeopardize their relationship for the sake of, I think, setting her daughter up for what she believes is an easier life.
Yeah.
And it's an incredibly timely show, in my opinion. Dana's inspiration, if you will, was her own mother's beauty shop, which was an at-home. She owned her own business and was a beauty shop owner. And Dana was wondering, looking around at our present economy and how things are structured, could her mom own her own business today? Could she do that today? And Dana's answer in looking around is Probably not, and not very easily. And so the play does absolutely deal with between the haves and the have-nots, about that you actually have to have capital to invest and make more money, that you have to come from a place of security and privilege in order to continue to be in security and privilege, and that quite frankly, the myth of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is actually a rare case that people are able to pull that off, and that's not everybody's.
And I think it's really good to deconstruct that myth that people are supposed to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, that your success in life is somehow dictated by how much effort you put into it or how hard you work, as opposed to these other external factors that affect people.
Absolutely. You only make X amount, or that you were barely able to get to college, or you weren't able to make it through college. Well, that's your own fault. It's like not bringing everything up, that it's like, well, maybe you didn't have health insurance and that set you back, or you couldn't possibly get the student loans that you need in order to put yourself through college if you're lucky enough to graduate with $120,000 in student loan debt, and that is just for your undergraduate degree. So we are kind of in an untenable paradigm right now when it comes to education and opportunities, and I don't care who you are, it's excessively difficult. And this idea that our children have a better life than us is actually not very true. Our children tend to stay within the exact same socioeconomic status or class as we are in. So it's disbanding that myth, it's analyzing it, but it's also a hysterical play about a mother and a daughter, both incredibly strong-willed. Mom's trying to keep her business going and get her daughter out the door, and daughter, of course, has her own ideas. So it's a lot of fun too, with some amazing characters and beautifully written. And already the plays have attracted quite a bit of attention and support. Scott's play won one of the Edgerton American New Play Awards, which is amazing. And Dano's Princess Grace finalist, as well as her play, will be published by Methuen in conjunction with our world premiere. So already the plays are getting a great deal of support, and we are truly grateful for the people who are getting behind these plays, not just us.
And both those plays were nurtured here at Chicago Dramatists.
Absolutely, developed here through readings and public readings and workshops. Yeah.
And then American Beauty was a Steppenwolf's first look.
It was.
Okay.
So Dana was very lucky to get a reading there at Steppenwolf as well, which of course contributed to a lot of the support and interest. So we're always grateful for that.
Well, thank you for being with us today.
Of
Is there
course.
anything else you want to plug or anything to promote?
No,
that we should know
I want to
about
say
what Chicago Dramatists is doing.
I think, Dramatists has been under a great deal of leadership transition in the last couple of years, and we deeply miss Russ Tutterow, who is our longtime artistic director, but we've got a lot of we've got a great deal of vision and ideas and changes coming down the pipeline. We were on hiatus for accepting applications for a residency this past year. Those will be opening up again. And I also want people to look out for another fellowship opportunity for younger writers, perhaps, that will offer some opportunities for intensive study and mentorship as well. So we've got a number of projects that we're working on and programs to continue to develop our local writers and to contribute to the American theatrical canon. So we're very proud of our writers and looking forward to the future.
And something that I think would be good to make sure we covered that I don't know came out in the other Chicago Playwrights episodes is that Chicago Dramatists is a national organization, and people can tap into their resources from wherever they are. They don't have to live here in Chicago.
Indeed. So we are lucky enough, one of our very robust programs is a fee-based professional writers association, which is the network program. And the network playwright program, we have a lot of very active members here in Chicago, but also people who live elsewhere, people who were in Chicago and have moved, or just love us and know about us and are part of that. And there are developmental opportunities that happen via email and whatnot in order to stay connected with our writers who can get scripts evaluated, things like that, fly in for weekend workshops. So there are ways to stay connected and be a part of who we are and not live in Chicago. So check that out, the network.
Well, thank you for being with us today.
Of course.
This has been Chicago Playwrights. We hope you check out Beautiful Autistic and American Beauty Shop here at Chicago Dramatists.